curious, slightly hushed tone. Headlines for years warned of a specific brand of domestic terrorism, but the internal files from that era suggest the narrative was a top-down project rather than an intelligence finding. Between 2006 and 2010, RVS Mani served as Undersecretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs. In this role, he was responsible for processing all internal security intelligence reports. In June 2006, senior political figures like Digvijaya Singh issued a directive to the Security Division, find specific files and evidence proving the existence of Hindu terror. Mani examined the records and delivered an official response. The Internal Security Division had no such files, and no intelligence reports in the system supported that label. Mani's findings point to a specific political goal. By continuing to mine for this evidence, the government aimed to build a case against the leadership in Gujarat, specifically Narendra Modi. The Ministry of Home Affairs effectively launched a project to construct a new reality within the government, regardless of what the actual intelligence reports showed. The 2008 bombings in Malegaon provided a testing ground. The government bypassed standard investigation timelines to label the tragedy as a domestic terror attack within days. The official investigation moved away from actionable intelligence regarding radical sleeper cells and established foreign networks, which were highlighted in early reports. Instead, the focus shifted to Colonel Purohit, a military intelligence officer who had been tracking radicalization in coastal Karnataka and training state anti-terror officers. To secure a confession fitting the political narrative, Purohit was subjected to physical torture, including continuous beatings while being held off the books by the local ATS. While the ATS interrogated Purohit, the leads he had developed on radical networks in Karnataka went cold. This shift in focus allowed those foreign-funded groups to avoid further scrutiny. By the end of the first phase, the investigation into established terror networks had stalled, overtaken by the prosecution of the intelligence officer himself. During the 26/11 attacks in Mumbai, political optics compromised the speed of the national defense response. The Navy and Coast Guard had spotted the incoming maritime threat, but were directed to abandon active surveillance, leaving a critical gap in the perimeter. The delay continued at the highest levels. Home Minister Shivraj Patil took several hours to authorize the deployment of the elite NSG commandos. While civilians were under fire, fully equipped commandos spent nearly 10 hours waiting on the tarmac for political clearance to fly to Mumbai. The red Kalava thread, placed on the wrist of Ajmal Kasab, was intended to frame the massacre as a domestic attack, hiding the true origins of the gunman. Tukaram Omble captured Kasab alive, providing proof that the attackers were Pakistani. This undermined the prepared narrative and forced the government to abandon the domestic terror script. Political narrative building during an act of war delayed the rapid response that was necessary to save civilian lives. The manipulation continued with the Ishrat Jahan case. Investigations by the IB confirmed she was an operative targeting political leaders in Gujarat, including Amit Shah. Despite this evidence, the official Ministry of Home Affairs affidavit was altered at the highest level. The revision erased her terror affiliations and reframed the case as a fake encounter. Home Secretary-level files indicate that P. Chidambaram personally drafted and forced through the altered affidavit to maintain the political narrative. Mani was pressured to sign this forged document. He refused, citing the intelligence reports that directly contradicted the new claims. When he refused to comply, an investigating officer physically tortured him, pressing a lit cigarette into his thigh to force his signature. The state apparatus was turned against its own officers to protect a fabricated political story. This prioritization of political optics left room for other security threats to expand. Drug cartels and fake currency networks grew during this period. Intelligence from 2009 showed that these illegal funds provided significant support for terror operations. These funding networks were occasionally linked back to businesses owned by local politicians, who used their influence to launder the proceeds. By focusing the national security apparatus on political opponents, the government allowed actual terror networks across the border to strengthen their infrastructure. Protecting the country requires an intelligence apparatus that functions without political dictation. The lives lost during these years cannot be recovered. Exposing how these narratives were built is a necessary step in ensuring that the nation's security is never compromised from within again.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fab Myths. Make sure to like this video and drop a comment. And please subscribe to the channel right now. Don't forget to press that bell icon too. Thank you so much for your amazing support.